Hello guys, welcome to my humble YouTube channel where I bring you fanfiction that will brighten your days. Before we start, a subscribe is greatly appreciated, and don't forget to leave a like and ring the bell icon so you won't miss exciting new fanfiction stories. The Goddess and the Demon King, Book 1, The Goddess's Journey by Raven_Draws. Chapter 4. The Dwarven Kingdom Summary. Rimuru wakes up and takes a trip to visit some dwarves. My eyes start flickering open as I stir awake. It's been 3 days since I named all the goblins and direwolves, and now I'm beginning to wake up. My head feels like it's on something hard and soft at the same time, while also a little squishy. "Oh, Lady Rimuru," I hear a voice say. I open up my eyes and notice that my head is lying in the lap of someone I don't know. "How are you feeling?" "Who? I will go and call Elder Rigard for you." "Oh, sure. Thank you." The unknown goblina leaves and I sit up from my lying down position. A few minutes later, Rigard arrives. "Lady Rimuru, you are awake." "Hello, Rigard. Who was that man?" I slowly look up at Rigard, and he's way different than how he was before. Rather than a short and skinny old goblin, he's grown much taller and has gained muscle and hair. Whoa, it's like the complete opposite, but how? "Please, come this way. The feast is nearly ready." He gestured his hand out of the tent. Oh, thank you." I walk out after him and begin looking at everyone that is walking around. Everyone looks so different. A few look the same with just small differences here and there, while everyone else is taller and muscular. However, my thoughts get interrupted by a massive direwolf coming towards me. "Allow me to express my deepest joy at your recovery, my lady." "Ranga. Is that you?" "Yes, my lady." Ranga exclaims happily with his tail going out of control. Out of everyone I have seen so far, Ranga has had the biggest change. His body itself has grown double the size from before. Even just on all four he somewhat towers over me. The other changes are that he now has a long horn at the center of the star on his head. "Wow, you've grown quite a lot, haven't you, boy?" I began to pet him on the head, which made him even more excited. "Lady Rimuru has awakened. Is the feast prepared, everyone?" Rigard asked the goblins. During the time waiting for them to finish up, I began lying on Ranga and started thinking about how everyone grew so much in only 3 days. I estimated that naming for monsters is more important than I made it out to be. Every time I named, I felt my magic being drained, and with them being different 3 days later, it must mean that with the names, I'm giving my own magic power to them, which caused them to evolve. Is that about a correct estimate, great sage? Answer: correct. Each time you gave them a name, it would include your magicules. The direwolves evolved into a new race named Tempest Wolves, while the goblins evolved into hobgoblins and goblinas. I see. So, to your new evolution and the end of the fighting. A toast. Cheers. Everyone began to look at me with clueless expressions. Did I say something wrong? "Lady Rimuru, what is this toast you speak of?" Rigard asks curiously. "Oh, I guess you aren't familiar with the custom." I bring my cup closer to his. "See, you raise your cup like this, and tink. Leading the goblins will be tough work. However, it won't be impossible, nor will it be annoying. I will have to teach them new customs and etiquette, but that's not all. Their food is either raw or cooked over an open fire. The tents and huts aren't very sturdy, rags for clothes, and tools and weapons are all rusted or broken. I have a lot of work to do, though I'm excited to see what will come out of it." Oh, the next day. It's the morning of the next day after the feast yesterday, and I think it's time to set some ground rules with the village. I don't want them to go crazy with their new power, and I want to keep them safe as well. "Everyone, gather around. Lady Rimuru has a very important speech to give." Rigard yells as he stands next to the stump I'm sitting on with Ranga laying down behind me. "What kind of speech?" one of the hobgoblins asks the other. "It could be anything. Whatever Lady Rimuru says amazes me," they tell the other as all of them start walking over. "Lady Rimuru looks so regal today. Will it be another feast?" "That bull deer yesterday was delicious. I got to help clean Lady Rimuru today," one of the goblinas yells happily. "Ah, lucky." Another goblina complains in jealousy. "Lady Rimuru is so beautiful and regal." Everyone began to quiet down as they began to gather in front of me. "Good day, everyone. I would like to talk to you all about something important. As you can see, our little group has grown much larger. So in the interest of avoiding trouble, I want to lay down some ground rules. 1. There will be no infighting. 2. Just because you've evolved, that doesn't mean you're allowed to look down on other species. And 3. No attacking other humans. That is all. These rules are ironclad. I have a question. Rigger raised his hand. What is it, Rigger? Why mustn't we attack humans? You dare question Lady Rimaru's judgment? Rigard asks menacingly. At ease, Rigard. It's completely fine. I reassure him. In fact, this is good. It shows that they aren't blindly following my orders and are still thinking for themselves. The reason is simple. Because I like humans. That's all. I see. It all makes sense. I shake my head. I mean, listen. Humans live in packs too, right? Just like us, if they get attacked, they can fight back. And how will we compete when it comes to numbers? We can't. Therefore, I forbid you to attack them. Getting along with them will benefit us, actually. Not just because I'm part human though, but because I want to see if we could have relations with them. I want the people I care about to thrive, and I'll befriend humans to do it. For now, that sums it up. Those are the rules I expect you to follow. Okay. The rules are now in place. Now it's time to give people their respective roles for what they need to do in the village. The first one I turn to is Rigard. I stand up from the stump and look at him. Rigard, kneel before me. He does exactly as I ask. Yes, my lady. I put my hand on his shoulder. I hereby appoint you the position of Goblin Lord. Serve as a wise and just leader of the village. He looks up at me with a face of admiration as I smile at him. My lady. I will devote my life to serving this position. Everyone then clapped and gave praise to Rigard for his accomplishment. The dream I have for the future and the way I want to rule are quite complicated. The way I want to rule in the future is, of course, I have total power over what happens in the village, town, country, whatever it'll be, I'll have the most power over it. However, I'm going to create a group of executives, and each of them rules over a specific thing, as well. For example, Rigard, as his new title of Goblin Lord suggests, will rule over any and all goblins in the present and future. Ranga is technically the same as, if I understood correctly, he now is the leader of the rest of the Tempest Wolves. All in all, the way I want to rule my present and future subordinates, is that I want to rule over them, while also giving them to freedom to rule their separate factions themselves with me only intervening when necessary. Now, after the village meeting and the appointment of Rigard and the others to their specific roles, I asked them to build a house the best they could, and the result is, less than satisfying but expected. It's already as flimsy as the fence and in some places broken from the weight. And this is after you rebuilt it? Yes, I'm ashamed to admit, Rigard looks away embarrassed. I give him a pat on the shoulder. Hey, I'm not saying that you made any bad decisions, but you don't know architecture, so what else could I expect? I'm so sorry, he looks down sadly. I admit that it's my fault that I expected them to build a house exactly like I thought, but now we need to find someone capable of architecture. I have fragments of knowledge about building houses, however, in terms of being able to guide them how would be difficult. We're going to need a connection to a builder, and possibly a blacksmith too. Oh. There are some with whom we've traded in the past. They are handy folks well versed in the art of building homes, he states. Oh really? Who do you trade with? The dwarves. The Dwarf Kingdom is a 2-month trip northward along the river. But with the help of the Tempest Wolves, the trip should be much faster, he explains. I see, as long as we're following the river, we can't get lost. I will go and negotiate directly with them. Go and grab who you think would be the best suited to join me. Can I trust you to prepare us for the journey, Rigard? Oh. I will have everything ready by midday, my lady. Oh. Later that day, a few hours pass and my party and I are on our way to the Dwarf's Kingdom. From what Rigard had said, it would take 2 months usually, but with the Tempest Wolves, I estimate that it would only take a week at most as we're rushing through the forest with speed. We're now going through a downhill part of the forest, so for a bit of fun, I expand my wings then jump off of Ranga and start gliding down, matching their speed. As soon as we got down to the bottom, I glided to and sat back down on Ranga. Using one of the skills I gained from the leader Direwolf, I opened up thought communication with Rigger. Hey. Are you goblins doing all right? Lady Rimaru? Do not worry about us. After our evolution, we are no longer as fatigued by such rigorous activity. Ah, that's good. Oh, by the way, who was it that gave your elder brother his name? Did he evolve too? Yes, my lady, but it was not at our current level. Years ago, he was named by Lord Gelmid, an officer of the Demon Lord's army, when they stopped by the village. He said that rigor would make a good follower one day. Ah, as I estimated, naming does indeed cause a species to evolve. However, depending on the magic power of the individual doing the naming, they could become more or less powerful. Then there's the second thing he talked about, a demon lord. That title is so familiar to me, especially if you change lord to king. It's like I knew someone who had that title. I wonder what the demon lords of this world are like. Are they all arrogant and power-craving? Or are some of them nice and maybe somewhat childish? It started to reach nightfall, so I told Even to find a good place to stop so we could make camp. Before we departed, I heard Gobta talking about how he had gone to the Dwarven Kingdom already, so I decided to ask him more. Gobta, you said you've been to the Dwarf Kingdom to do some training before? Why yes, my lady. What is it like? I inquired. Well, the official name is the Armed Nation of Dwargon. The capital's a beautiful city built into an enormous natural cave. And it's not just dwarves there, I saw plenty of elves and humans too. I see, I would like to see that. But is it possible for monsters like you all to just walk in safely? Even though I'm a demon, I could easily pose as a human and go in, but you all are monsters that aren't able to change how you look. I mean, I am part human, but I won't mention that, at least not yet. Dwargon is a neutral bastion of free trade. By the king's order, all fighting is forbidden within the borders of the nation. Rigor explains. He sounds like a great king. That even sounds like the type of place I would like to create too. From what the tales say, the armies of the Dwarven King have remained undefeated for a millennium. 1,000 years. That is impressive. Though continuing with your previous statement, as long as we don't cause any trouble, we should be fine. Indeed. When I went, I got menaced just in front of the Ga. There's no way we can run into any trouble there. He cuts off Gobta. Now let's get some sleep. Right. 3 days later, 3 days after our departure, we finally begin to see a massive mountain range before us, with plains that stretch to the horizon around it. The Armed Nation of Dwargon took us 3 days, which usually would take 2 months. We make camp on the outskirts of the forest before the plains that take us to the entrance. I decide that I'll only go with Gobta as he knows the capital better than anyone else. Holding the camp, ma'am? I nod. That's correct. We would stick out too much if we went with such a big group along with the Tempest Wolves. From this point on, only I will go with Gobta coming along as my guide. Yes, my lady, they all look down defeatedly. Both of us begin to walk towards the entrance. Take care. I feel kinda bad for them. Gobta states. There's no other option, I'm afraid. We continue walking through and we reach the end of the line. Even after an hour, we still didn't make too much more progress. Security is quite tight in this nation. The line is pretty slow. But once we're inside, we're free to go anywhere, he states. That's true. Hey! What is a monster doing around here? We heard a voice shout. I look back and see 2 arrogant adventurers walking towards us. They're not inside yet, so there's no penalty for killing them here, is there? The second adventurer speaks up as soon as he sees me. Hey pretty face. Why don't you leave that freak and come with us, we can give you a wonderful time. Gobta. Do you remember the ground rules I laid out? I asked Gobta, ignoring the adventures for a second. Yes, ma'am. Don't attack humans. Good. Now I would like you to cover your ears until I signal that it's okay. You sure? Well, if you say so. You're the boss. He began to move a little away while covering his ears. Hey. What gives you a lowly girl the right to ignore us? I focus my attention back on the adventures. Apologies, we're not looking for a fight. We have business in Dwargon that shouldn't take too long. We should be out of your hair by then. Like we'd ever let a pretty face like you go. You're just a lowly girl traveling with a monster. I tilt my head. Oh, is that so? Do I look like just a lowly girl to you? What the hell else would you be? The second one shouts. How about a demon? I suggest. This bitch thinks she's funny. Apparently, she's not gonna get the big picture unless she feels some pain first. Isn't that right, bitch? I begin to release a little bit of my aura. I see, and how long have you been confusing me for just a girl? They begin to charge at me with their swords out. If you're something else, you're running out of time to prove it to us. I then activate, Mimic. causing a bunch of black smoke to surround me as my form starts to change. Wah. What do you think of my alternate form? I say smugly as the dust dissipates and reveals my Tempest Star Wolf form. Didn't exactly expect to mimic something like this, let's hope I'll be able to hold back enough. Ha. You can't fool us, you're still just a lowly girl underneath. Hey, help us out. 5 people should be enough. The first adventurer shouts as more come to the fight. They really aren't intimidated? They then began multiple spells and slashes that did nothing other than being irritating, so I decided that this was enough. Enough already, it doesn't hurt, it's just annoying. I roared. However, when I look back at what I did, everyone around us, including them, either fainted or got blown away by my yell, except for Gobta. Oops, I didn't hold back enough, though, they did deserve it. Announcing results of intimidation. Turned and fled, 16 total. Sent into a panic, 68 total. Knocked unconscious, 92 total. Soiled pan. I'm going to stop you right there, great sage. Thank you, but I don't need to know that last part. Hey. What's going on over there? I looked over and immediately turned off Mimic, and I went back to my usual self as the guards were rushing over to us. Huh? A girl? Sigh. I should have known this was going to happen. Oh, an hour later, and that's what happened, no more no less. After being caught by security, we got arrested and interrogated by the captain of the security force, Kaido. He asked for our recount of everything, so for the past hour that's what's been happening. So are we all agreed that it's not my fault that I wanted to roughen up some perverts? Well, it does seem to match the eyewitness testimony, Kaido agreed. Captain, come quick. There was a huge accident in the mine. One of the guards barged into the room and shouted at the captain. Apparently an Armorsaurus showed up. What? We've got to eliminate it before it reaches the city. Actually, that's not the problem. The patrols are already on their way to vanquish the beast. No, the issue is that the miners who were deep in the mine to extract magic ore were terribly injured. What? Garm's group? Kaido shouted in fear. The guard continued. And with the war preparations, we're already low on healing solutions. At this rate. Don't be daft. They're like brothers to me. They're not going to kick the bucket so easily. He begins to rub his head, trying to figure out what to do. I decided that it was time to intervene since even though I don't know Garm's group, I think the right thing to do is try to help save them. This is the first time that I'm turning on slime body over my entire body as I use it to slip through the bars of the cell. Once I'm on the other side of the bars, I use material creation to create a barrel so I can fill it with my healing elixir. Once I was finished, I tapped his shoulder. Hey. Who said you could come out here? Have no worries, I will go back in once I'm done. I then gesture to the barrel with my hand. However, isn't this a little more important at the moment? What is that? It's a healing elixir I made. It can heal nearly anything. I don't expect him to trust me that well, especially since I told him that I'm a demon. However, that shouldn't be important right now. Your brothers are in trouble, correct? Please, try my elixir, you don't have a better plan, right? Kaido looks at the barrel for a few seconds before looking at me. Don't you dare leave this prison cell again. He turns back to the guard with the barrel. Come, we're going. Are you serious, Captain? That's from a demon. Stop yapping and lead the way, damn you. During the wait for them to come back, I began practicing a few of my skills, with the main one being my threads. I've gotten quite good at them. If need be, I could make certain shapes with it like small statues or objects. Though, after an hour, I began to stop as I heard the door open to the cell block. I see Kaido with 3 others, presumably Garm's group, coming into the room. They've been healed. Thank you, Kaido exclaims. If it wasn't for your medicine, I'd be dead by now. Thank you, Garm exclaimed. I still can't believe it. This arm was nearly torn off just a few minutes ago. Dord says with surprise. Then Murd just hums and nods. All right then. To tell you the truth, I've never seen such an excellent potion. If there's anything I can do for you, just say the word. Kaido suggested. Oh, there is something we would like your help with. We are looking for a blacksmith who could help us with a few things. Could you recommend someone to us? I ask. Oh, I know someone who would suit your needs perfectly. The next day, Kaido finally allowed us to leave the cell. He was able to find the blacksmith that he wanted to recommend to us, so now we are following him through the city. The city, in my opinion, is quite beautiful. It's completely in this cavern. All the buildings fit quite well with this place, and it's just quite an amazing place all around. I must say, Kaido, the capital is amazing. Indeed it is. He then looks back at me while we're walking. I've been meaning to ask, who made your outfit? I know you're a demon and all, but it doesn't seem like something a demon would wear. It even looks a bit ceremonial. Oh, I struggle to find an answer since I don't even know myself. If I have to be honest, I don't know. I've always had it, even since I awoke. I see. You know, you don't act anything like a demon, he stated, surprising me. I don't? He shakes his head. No, demons are said to be honor-bound to their contracts and be very evil and dangerous. But, from what I've seen, you seem to be none of those. You seem to be more human than anything. Well, technically I am human, just only a part. I see. We're now walking into the smithing part of the capital. I look over and see multiple tools and weapons on display. I look a bit closer and notice that they are glowing a little bit. Excellent craftsmanship. The smith that we are going to meet made those. We walk a bit farther and then enter the building. Once we enter, I barely notice a temperature change even though it must be quite hot in here. I speculate that it must be my thermal fluctuation resistance that has made any temperature normal rather than being hot or cold. Ho, brother. Are you here? A dwarf that's sitting near the forge takes off his goggles and looks at us. Is that you, Kaido? Sorry, I'm busy right now. If it's not urgent, could you come back another day? I then notice he's not alone here. 3 familiar dwarves are on the other side of the room. Hello, it's you 3 from yesterday. You work here as well? Oh ho. It's you, Lady Rimuru. Garm pointed out. This is the one, Kaijin. The demon who saved our lives. Kaijin looks at me again. Is that so? You have my thanks. But I'm afraid I can't leave this work at the moment. I shake my head. Please, don't mind me. I don't mean to interrupt. Why don't we try asking her, sir? Gord intruded. Her? Surely that would be pointless, but she had that incredible elixir on her. Why not give it a try? That's right, boss. Tell me your story. I am starting to get intrigued by what the problem is, so I decided to ask him. Apparently, a minister named Vesta wanted Kaijin to craft 20 swords for him. At first, he didn't want to but gave in after. I see. So you need to craft 20 long swords by the weekend, but you don't have enough metal to do it. He looks down. The nation itself commissioned various craftsmen for the job. This isn't the sort of request where I can just shrug my shoulders and say, whoops, never mind. And these wouldn't work? I point to a pile of swords on the ground. No, those are just steel swords. The long swords I'm calling upon to smith are made with magisteel, he states. I see, magisteel. I think I have that in my stomach. This is the only one I've got in my shop inventory. Want to see? He hands me the sword which I examine. The core is made of magisteel, which attracts and stores magic power. In other words, it grows and evolves with the user's desires. Fascinating. I would love one made for me. However, now's not the time. You shouldn't have accepted the job, Kaido pointed out. He groans. I didn't want it in the first place. But then that slimy minister Vesta had to speak up, and right in front of the king himself. That miserable rat. Did you send a request to the guild? Ask around for extra parts? I've done everything I can, and this is what it's amounted to. Damn it all. And with only 5 days left to go. Great sage, is it possible to create copies of this sword by combining material creation and the magisteel ore to create swords as durable and strong as this one? Answer. It is possible by analyzing the sword before creating more. Perfect. He sighs. So, that's my current quarry. I have a proposal for you, Kaijin. I say as I begin to devour the sword with predator. Do you have any interest in offering your teachings to the people in my village? Well, as a matter of fact, I've taken quite an interest in your wares, sir. He starts to notice that the sword in my hand is evaporating. Hey, that's my only finished sword in the batch. Analysis of item complete. Materials confirmed. Shall I copy? Yes, no. Yes. 20 small portals from my stomach open up around me with the copied swords coming out of them and start floating using the threads so they don't hit the floor. I'm not going to force you to come with me. Just know that the option is on the table. All 5 dwarves look at me astonished. I just did something that couldn't even be done in a week in just a few seconds. Here you go. 20 magisteel longsword.